Shalom, more praise to Yahweh Shemi Al-Shad, the blind Pastor GMS. This is I'm Noah Allah coming at you another video. Now this is part 2 to the other video I had there going into Donald Trump and this what they say is an assassination attempt on his life. Now this article is from July 15, 2024, 3:33 a.m. KansasReflector.com. It says, in wake of Trump assassination attempt, Kansas history reveals unpredictability of political rage. So let's read about this. Here's what I know for certain. The attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump, which some people are saying is fake, which it could be fake, on Saturday carried with it a kind of sick inevitability. The feeling that we as a nation have been inexorably drifting towards this point for more than a decade. See? U.S. Representatives Steve Scalise and Gabby Giffords were wounded by gunfire in 2017 and 2011, respectively. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer was targeted in the 2020 kidnapping plot. The attempted insurrection in the at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, cost the lives of at least seven. See that? That's the word insurrection. See that? It's going to speak about seditions among men. Unbalanced people with guns have imbibed deeply in the toxic waters of our nation's political dialogue and decided to take matters into their own hands. We cannot countenance such violence. The end of a gun means the end of democracy as we know it. See? Now they could be trying to use this to get rid of the firearms. See? And they're saying the end of the gun means the end of democracy as you know it, because you have as an American citizen, you have a right to bear arms, the legal right to bear arms. At the same time, the attempt on Trump's life cannot and should not stop criticism of the former president's campaign or the plans his allies have outlined for a second term. Bad actors will frame criticism of Trump as support for a would-be assassin. So now it's like, well, it says bad actors will frame criticism of Trump as support for a would-be assassin. See? So it's like they're trying to say, well, if you're criticizing Trump, it's like you're supporting a would-be assassin now. Dissent is patriotic. Well, yeah, because America, didn't you have a civil war? Didn't you have a revolutionary war? French-American war? So they're saying dissension, which is uprising, dissent, which is the uprising of the people, basically. Dissent is an opinion, philosophy, or sentiment or non-agreement of opposition to a prevailing idea or policy enforced under the authority of government. See, it's a different opinion. That's dissent. The person has a difference in opinion in regards to politics. What do? They'll rebel. Collins Dictionary. Dissent is a strong disagreement or dissatisfaction with a decision or opinion, especially one that is supported by most people or by people in authority. So dissent is patriotic. So that's looked at as being patriotic. Because, you know, America's origins is what? Civil wars and American Revolutionary Wars. So dissent, having difference in opinions and views from authority, is patriotic. It's a part of this country's history. Okay? That's what America was founded on. And voicing, you had Bacon's Rebellion, that was another rebellion that you had. And voicing your desire for a better country must remain protected speech. Folks across the political spectrum of our country understand this. Here's what I know, informed by the past 2 centuries of Kansas history. Anything else? Let's get a scripture. This is the book of Matthew 24, verse 4. Also from 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming in the end of the world? So they asked him, Lord, what's the signs of your return, of your second coming? And Yahweh answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. Don't let anybody deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. So many people have risen and said that they were Yahweh, that they were the anointed, that they were sent by the Most High. And people were deceived by that. These different so-called cults, worship groups where they worship a man and look at him as being God or the Son of God. That's an example. Look at him as the Most High, the Son of the Most High. That's an example. And it says, many going to be deceived. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So when you hear wars and rumors of wars, don't be troubled, don't be afraid. Because these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So those are the things that happen. It's still not the end. It's just signs of the end, which is what they asked the Lord. The signs of his coming. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrow. See that right there? It said nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. I wrote kingdom.
Strong's G 932. Basileia.
Basileia. Royal power, kinship, dominion, rule. So it's going to be one rulership against another. Okay? What you can, see it says, literally half the kingdom. Then by monotony, autonomy, a concrete noun, denoting the territory or people over whom a king rules. So that you can apply that to the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. It says people over whom a king rules. Now, obviously, America doesn't have no king. It has a president. But a president is a modern-day king, a modern-day ruler. And each party is like they're ruling over those. One party is ruling over Democrats, other party ruling over Republicans. Even though you could be a Democrat or a Republican and vote for the opposite party, it still symbolizes a level of division, a level of separation between the states that you have, different parties who may have different views. Now, this happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. And if you go on Wikipedia, look at the politics of Pennsylvania. It says Pennsylvania is generally considered a swing state that leans slightly left. Now, when you type in click on swing state, it says in American politics, a swing state, also known as battleground state, toss-up state, or purple state, is any state that could reasonably be won by either a Democratic or Republican candidate in a statewide election, most often referring to presidential elections by a swing in votes. So this state itself is looked at as a battleground state, a purple state, because red and blue makes purple, a toss-up state, or a battleground state. That word battleground. See that? See that? That's uproars of the people. That's nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Of all states, it happened in Pennsylvania, Butler, Pennsylvania. Battleground, shooting, a battle between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. And the people who follow both parties and both people who are supposed to represent those parties in a battleground state. Battle. See that? Now let's come back here. Like I said, that happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, which that's important. You had the Battle of Gettysburg in Pennsylvania during the Civil War. You had the I believe it's called the Gradual Abolition Act, which made Pennsylvania the first state to grant emancipation for slaves. You had William Penn, I believe it's called William Penn Declaration. Not quoting it verbatim, but you had a colony in Pennsylvania, William Penn's colony, and in 1682, those settlers were given the right to vote and citizenship. You have the Liberty Bell. So that's what William Penn, the Liberty Bell. That's the Battle of Gettysburg. The abolition of slaves, the Gradual Abolition Act. If I'm quoting it correctly, you brothers can look that up. So Philadelphia got a rich history, man. I mean, Pennsylvania has a rich history. Let me see how much there's a lot here left. Okay, not that much. I could read the rest. It says where am I? At the same time, the attempts on Trump's life cannot and should not stop criticism of the former president's campaign or the play. Okay, I read that already. The sin is patriotic, and voicing your desire for a better country must remain protected speech. Folks across the political spectrum of our country understand this. That's all I ended at. Nope, all right, next line. Okay, I do not know what the assassination attempt will mean for the presidential race. Neither does anyone else in the news media, regardless of the authority with which they say it. I do not know what such violence means for us as a country or state. I don't know what it means for our collective future. Neither does anyone else, regardless of their professional expertise as academics or politicians or lobbyists or opinion editors. Such experience helps illuminate possible paths, but it cannot tell us which one people will choose. In moments of crisis, we seek both reassurance and authority. We want to know what's coming so that we can prepare. As such, volume predominates. Poor quality information and commentary spreads far and wide as pompous windbags pontificate, meeting market demand for easy answers. Dismiss them. Tune not the noise. Be careful about what news sources you read, what social media channels you access. Let's see. Jump down a little bit. I keep reading. Kansas past demonstrates the futility of predicting the results of political violence. In 2009, Wichita abortion provider George Tiller was gunned down his own church. The state continued to debate reproductive freedom, and with anti-choice voices only growing in power and influence, only in 2022 did the state's populace render a definitive verdict on the issue. Conservative politicians still haven't let up in the 2 years since. A firebombing at the University of Kansas Student Union caused nearly $1 million in damages in April 1970. The conflagration was the culminating act in which a day of mayhem and a week of civil unrest in Lawrence. A period some have called the Days of Rage that included racial confrontations, student protests, bomb threats, arson, and incidents of sniper fire directed at firefighters, wrote William Towns. Yet despite the furor, the campus eventually returned to normal, with the union rebuilding and reopening. The culprit was never found. For context, both Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and his presidential candidate, Robert F. Kennedy, had been assassinated in 1968, signifying a dangerous and conflicted era. And we're in a similar time to that now. There's other things like, digging even further into the past, Kansas as a state arose during the fervent conflict over slavery. It says, digging even further into the past, Kansas as a state arose during the fervent conflict over slavery. From 1855 to 1859, 55 people were killed during the period of guerrilla warfare, dubbed Bleeding Kansas. I've heard of that before. We entered the Union as a free state in 1861, but the bloody National Civil War followed. Scholars now believe that roughly 750,000 Americans died. What made recent unrest different from that of the 1850s and 1860s? Why did some violence beget more violence while other destruction simply fizzled out? University of Massachusetts Lowell Professor Ari Perliger spoke to the Conversation website on Saturday and offered a handful of clues. Democracy cannot work in the different parties. The different movements are not willing to work together on some issues. That's why you got something called bipartisanship, when you got two different political parties who agree on the same thing. So sometimes they can agree, sometimes they can't. He said, democracy works when multiple groups are willing to reach some kind of consensus through negotiations, to collaborate and to cooperate. He continued, what we've seen in the last 17 years, basically since 2008 and the rise of the Tea Party movement, is that there's increasing polarization in the U.S. See? Increasing polarization. Things that's polarizing, things that's controversial, things that are bringing about uproars. We are forcing out any politicians and policymakers who are interested in collaboration with the other side. That's one thing. See, so they're phasing out people that's in collaboration with the other side. So it's more division. Second, people delegitimize leaders who are willing to collaborate with the other side. See? Hence presenting them as individuals who portray their values in political party. And the third part is that people are delegitimizing their political rivals. They transform a political disagreement into a war in which there is no space for working together to address the challenges they agree are facing the nation. To me, Perlinger's words suggests that while Kansas has seen violence and disagreements in recent decades, it has also been willing to address them through democratic means. When we turn our back on those institutions and the systems they established, we raise the chance of bloodshed and turmoil unfolding in unpredictable ways. So what you read in this article was telling you that everything is just leading up to further division. I don't know what happens now, not for Trump, not for the presidential campaign, not for the United States, not for Kansas. But I do know that our country will decide on the path forward. Let us choose wisely. Now look at the word polarization. Polarization is a property no, not that kind of polarization. What is polarization in society? Social polarization is a segregation within a society that emerges when factors such as income inequality. Okay, right here's a good one. What is the simple definition of polarization? Division into two sharply distinct opposites. When things are opposite, what happens? It causes uproars. It causes dissension. It causes controversy. A state in which the opinions, beliefs, or interests of a group or society no longer range along a continuum, but become concentrated at opposing extremes. Like the 1960s was a very polarized time in the United States of America. You had a lot of civil unrest that was going on, riots. You had the civil rights movement that was going on. It was a counterculture. But here's what I really want to end off with. Right here. It says John Brown, 1859. He was a person that is said to have been against slavery, right? And it says, a slave abolitionist. I, John Brown, am quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away but with blood. What do you think of? Numbers 35 and 33. So you should not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood hath defiled the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So the Most High, the Lord, must risk the host of the battle. The Lord is a man of war. These are in the scriptures. Okay? That's in Isaiah. That's Exodus 15 and 3 and Isaiah 13 and 4. The Lord is a man of war. He must risk the host of the battle. When you mustering something up, you agitating it, you getting it ready. I'm not going to read that scripture because, due to the interest of time, it's been going on for about almost 18 minutes now. So the Lord is mustering everything up. He's getting things ready. He's getting things prepared. He's making it hot. All right? He's mustering the host of the battle. He's assembling everything. Assembling the troops, getting ready for the civil unrest. This may very well happen soon. And this is what we're hoping for so we can get out of here. These are signs that the Lord's coming. So with that, I'm going to close. I'm going to say, praise to how about Shema Shah, the Balanci Apostle GMS. I hope you brother learned something. Shalom.